Hi, everyone. Thank you for tuning in to our podcast today. These podcasts are brought to you in part by our sponsors, who really truly are what make these podcasts possible every week. O'Fallon Nutrition is a company that I've worked with for over 15 years. They're independently owned and operated, located here in O'Fallon, Missouri, right off of Highway K and Mexico Road. I call this place the Whole Foods of St. Charles County, but even if you are not located on this side of the river, it is still worth the drive. I can remember working all the way down at Powerhouse and still sending people out to O'Fallon Nutrition for their supplements. They are more than a supplement company. You can get grass-fed beef, salad dressing, seasoning for your cooking, hair care products, makeup, deodorant, toothpaste, essential oils, and all the vitamins and minerals that you can think of. If you're looking for clean, whole food nutrition, as well as home care, house care, skincare products, O'Fallon Nutrition is your place. You can take a look at them at o'fallonnutrition.com, or if you'd like to have something shipped, if you're listening to me from outside of St. Louis, you can certainly have items shipped. I know they do free shipping if it's an order over $50, and the phone number is 636-240-5283. Again, it's o'fallonnutrition.com. As well as if preparing your food on a weekly basis is your primary excuse for why you're not able to stay on a good, clean eating program, which is something that I hear very regularly from my clients, I would ask you to please take the time to check out Pure Plates. It's pureplatesstl.com. They are a phenomenal place. We get our food from there during the week. They deliver to our Integrity location. They will deliver to your house. They also are just available for pickup. You can go to their Chesterfield location or their Kirkwood location and just pick up meals for the day, as well as just having them delivered right to your door. So if preparing your food is your main excuse for why you cannot stay on a healthy eating program, then I would suggest just stop by Pure Plates. Just try it. If you're trying to lower your blood pressure, you're trying to lower your cholesterol, you're trying to get your blood sugar down, try to do Pure Plates meals for a week and just see how different you feel. These are organic meals. They are gluten-free. If you need them to be, they can be dairy-free. They are soy-free. You're not taking any processed sugars or meat-curing agents or preservatives. They really, truly believe in nutrient-dense meals that are just whole food nutrition. And I've had my clients, or I've made recommendations for my clients for years at Pure Plates. It's pureplatesstl.com, or you can call them to ask questions at 636-778-3555. Again, remembering that they have a location in Chesterfield as well as in Kirkwood that you can just run by and pick up a meal today. Everyone always asks me where I get my meat from, and given that I really eat meat on a daily basis, typically beef primarily, my meat is very important to me. I have an autoimmune condition and I want grain-free, corn-free meat, and I just haven't found the confidence in stores in knowing that I'm getting 100% grass-fed, grass-finished beef. And I have searched and searched and searched for the right farm, and I have found the farm. It's fedfromthefarm.com, fed, F-E-D, from thefarm.com. These farmers are amazing. It's a family. They're here in Missouri, and they have the desire, just like I do, to see people well and to see people healthy, and they put a lot into what they do. It's such a wonderful family to support. They do offer 100% grass-finished, grass-fed, meaning that's it. A beef, and I get my ribeyes, I get my ground beef, my ground sirloin, I get my chuck roast. I mean, they basically have everything. They even have awesome jerky, but they also have eggs, they have chickens, and they have turkey. I'm planning on getting a turkey for Thanksgiving, and if you'd like lamb, they have that as well. But if you are in need of good quality grass-fed, grass-finished beef, or quality eggs, chicken, turkey, don't just settle for what you're getting at the local store. to go out on the internet and check out Fed from the Farm. That you can arrange a pickup or you can have it delivered to your home. And I can guarantee you're going to taste the difference. For me, my health actually depends on it. So I really thank God to have found such a great farmer. Fedfromthefarm.com. I hope it blesses you.
Welcome to Faith, Fuel, and Fitness, the Integrity Way, with your hosts, John and Debbie Morris from Integrity Training Systems.
Hey everybody, this is John and Debbie Morris with Integrity Training Systems on Real Talk 93.3. We're so happy to have you today. We always like to start our show off, if you're new with us, by talking about what it means to be a warrior and giving the definition. So a warrior is a brave or experienced soldier or fighter. Every week I talk about why the wars are important. Talk about why they're important. Because a lot of people might say, well, I'm not very brave and I've never been a soldier. But you are experienced and you are a fighter because life has gotten you here. I mean, even if you're a 1-year-old, you had to figure out how to crawl. You know, it's like you figured out something, you fought through something, and then that gives you experience. So you get to consider yourself a warrior, and that's important because sometimes I think we forget that we're capable of battling what life throws at us. So if you go into this thing knowing like everything you've ever watched, Gladiator, Braveheart, like these mighty people are warriors, you actually are a warrior too. And sometimes people will say, well, that's kind of weird. Like, isn't that kind of overthinking my day? Like, okay, it's not that epic. Well, life should be epic. You know, so every problem you have, instead of sitting around and looping on why you can't overcome it, look at it like a warrior. Look at the underlying things going on around you and target it very specifically and figure out how to beat it. So every week we just like to talk about something that Debbie and I have gone through, or clients or friends or family, just to give you faith that there are other people experiencing the same things. And if others can overcome it, so can you. Debbie, got anybody or anything you want to talk about on that this week?
Yeah, just remember that post that I posted the other day in our group text with the trainers, and it was remember it was the battle, the guy that was on the horse, and he it was from that movie that you said you loved.
Oh yeah, the Gladiator one where he talked about like going into 2025 with my team.
Right.
And it's when he's talking about right before they go to war, it's in the snow and they're up in the tree line, and he's talking about, you know, like victory on the other end of it. And then he says, you know, if you find yourself in flowing fields walking and, you know, it's pretty and serene or whatever, then be happy because you're probably in heaven. Right. You know, but he's talking about going to war together, being strong as a team.
Yeah. So I sent that to our team. You know, it's pretty dynamic. Who's that actor?
Russell Crowe.
Yeah. What was that movie? Was that
Gladiator.
Gladiator? Okay. I mean, it's a pretty epic kind of moment that they created this little meme, which I really enjoyed. And we have a group text with our all of our trainers. And I mean, we really have to work hard at inspiring and encouraging each other on a regular basis, because by the hour we meet with people that are really struggling and dealing with heavy issues. And it's our job to continue to help, to continue to find solutions, to continue to find a path where they can have victory, they can find hope in their life. And so I posted this, you know, just this little meme because, you know, John and I are obviously known for, you know, being warriors, talking about being warriors, you know, just the whole concept of it. We literally get dressed up for the Renaissance Festival like warriors. So, I mean, we're just kind of into that, and shared that with my team because as we go into 2025, that meme is real to me. Like, we're on the front lines and we are armored up and we're ready to deflect all that the enemy has and is prepared to bring against us. Because when you are helping others, you will be under attack, and the attack will be strong, and it will try to lay you out. I mean, it will literally try to knock you at the knees and make it to where you want to give up on everything that God's called you to do. But as a team, we battle together and we battle strong together. And when you walk into our facility, I have a statue of the full armor of God right at the front door. And the reason I have that is because I want every client to realize that when they enter our building, they can take the armor off and they can rest for a little while because they're in the presence of the Lord when they're in that facility. and they're in the presence of people that will support them and raise them up and encourage them. And then when they leave, they're going to put that armor back on, and that shield is going to deflect all that the enemy tries to bring on. And so I sent that to my team because I wanted my team to just be strong and to be prepared. And let's go into 2025 prepared with and armed with solutions for people, because there are so many hurting people. They are not doing their food. Their brain is off. There are so many issues in their body, and medicine is not making the change. Their doctor is not suggesting food changes. They're not getting lined up with the right quality information, and they're not getting any answers. So we are at the front line, ready and equipped to help people. But it's just getting the message out there that there is hope for change, and that we will go to battle with you, and that we will not give up on you, and that we will continue to go to battle with you and help you to find the change that you need. And if you've screwed up, if you lost 100 pounds and you gained it back, we'll help you get it back off. Okay, if you're on 3 medications for your brain because you're so anxious or so depressed, we will help you adjust your food so that you can start to get off some of those medications. If you have high blood pressure, if you have high blood sugar and you're struggling and you don't know what to do and it's getting worse and worse and worse, we can change your food and get you exercising so that we can fight this battle with you. And so my warrior concept for you is challenge your family blueprint. Stop being so accepting of it. My daughter and I had a very thorough conversation about this weekend. We decided she's not stepping into what her family has stepped into in the past. Her dad had to lose 100 pounds. Her grandfather had to lose 90 pounds twice. Her grandmother had to lose weight. Her aunts and uncles have had to lose weight. Her cousins have had to lose weight, many of them on medications. Sophia has made the decision that I don't want that for my life. That's not the direction that I want to go in. Now, you may have been raised in a family and you only know what you know. You only know the foods that you know. You only know the drinking that you know. You only know the lifestyle that you know. It can change. There are ways of turning it all around, but it won't be easy. It will not be easy. It could be an uphill climb. Even my daughter had to go through times where even our own family questioned what she was doing and the validity of if she should be doing it, even though it was more than obvious that she was unhealthy. And so we've redirected it, and she's in an incredibly healthy space right now. But you might be in a position to where you were healthy at one time in your life, and now you're not. You can get it back, but you've got to go to battle for it. This is not an easy circumstance. None of it will be done overnight. It will be done with consistency, and it will be done with perseverance. And you're going to need to hire someone. You need to get with a team of people. You need to get into a positive environment. Thinking that you can do all this on your own might be your biggest mistake, and it may be the number one reason why you continue to falter and you continue to fall back and shrink back and go back in your ways. Maybe you did hire someone and you've fallen back again. Hire them again. Okay, stay in an environment where you're growing, where you're changing. But whatever you do, get the mindset that this is going to be challenging and that you're strong enough for the challenge, and rebuke the enemy, put him under your feet, and claim victory, claim power and authority, and say to yourself, I will challenge my health this year. I will get better. I will be the warrior I need to be.
I just think that a lot of times people will talk about genetic predisposition, and that is real. That's very real. There's a genealogy. There's a different things that are going to come with that. But I also think something that's very commonly left out is generational disposition. And what that means is it's not something that's actually in your coding. It's something that's in your learning. Like it's been passed down to you. You know, so if you have a family that, let's just use the example of what you're talking about, that has had weight health or like even medicational issues, or maybe it's anxiety, maybe it's depression, maybe it's bipolarism, whatever it is, and it's been seemingly passed down genetically. I just question, like, have you taken the time to, instead of accepting that, work toward the remedies that would make that go away? And if it is a generational issue, can you break that generational curse? Can you create a situation where it dies and ends with you? Like, would you not like to give that gift to those that come after you? And a lot of times, if you accept something, it becomes valid. It becomes the truth. So I just question, and I hope that you'll question as you move forward, and we talk a little bit more about this stuff in the next few segments. And while we're on break, just consider what you're dealing with. Is it something that's really genetically coded in you, or would there be a chance that you could overcome it? And does that not create a hope that allows you to desire to try?
For more information on what we do at Integrity Training Systems, take a look at integritytrainingsystems.com or give us a call at 636-299-2208. For gluten-free, dairy-free baked goods delivered to your door from my personal bakery, take a look at sophiesbakery.com. For 100% grass-fed beef, the only meat that the Morris family will eat, take a look at fedfromthefarm.com.
Welcome back, everybody. This is John and Debbie Morris with Integrity Training Systems on Real Talk 93.3. We just got done talking to you about what it means to be a warrior, and I just want to continue with that. It's funny, I was talking to a client of mine last week about just the depth of life, and without going like transcending spirit here on you, I just want to talk a little bit about life is a lot deeper than people give it credit for. Now, I'm obviously a Christian. I believe in Jesus. I believe he died for us on the cross. I hope you do the same, and I hope you realize that the hole that you're trying to fill in your life is actually where Jesus belongs. But if that's not what you're chasing, or even if it is, and you find yourself on the daily feeling like you're in the grind, the 9 to 5, well, it's Monday, well, I'm here, I'm tired, like, thank God it's Friday. If these are common things for you, common thought processes, I assure you, you're not living life. And so you want to look at a deeper meaning to life, because at the end of the day, if life doesn't have depth, what are we even here for? And so when you're under attack, or there's things that are occurring that are negative that you're having trouble dealing with on a regular basis, why? Like, what's the depth of that? Like, what are you being prevented from doing that could be greater? I'll give you an example. When my mind craves candy, which is basically, I would say maybe 3 seconds out of the day I don't, I have to ask myself, if I say, why shouldn't I have candy? It's pretty easy. It's like, well, it gives you headaches. Like, sometimes you get fatigue from it. Sometimes it turns you into a jerk. It doesn't make you very healthy. Like, those are all things that I can talk myself into being okay with. Like, it's just one day, no big deal. But what I have to do is I have to look deeper than that. Like, okay, if my mind is cloudy, I'm tired, or I'm a jerk, what am I not doing that I should be? So then what is that craving? What am I actually fulfilling? What am I feeding when I bring that in? You really need to look at life like that. Because if you're wanting to overcome something, or like, let's say that you're wanting to be better at what you do, are you walking around saying you want to be a millionaire? I'll give you another example here. I have a friend of mine that was talking to me about my business and just growth and things that we're going through. And he was challenging me on some really hard stuff. Like, I was actually uncomfortable talking to him. Like, I didn't have answers for him, and he knew it, and it made me uncomfortable, but not like he was being ignorant kind of way, but like he was challenging my strengths and showing me kinks in my armor. And what he said was, you have a millionaire inside of you. And unless you start doing some of these things that you need to do, you're never going to let him out. And so it was an interesting thought process. And I want to share that with you guys listening. You have a healthy person inside of you. You have a happy person inside of you. Like, remember when you were little and you were happy? Like, you have a creative person inside of you. So, like, what are you not doing to realize that? And I think we have to have an integrity movie night. I'm just going to have to rent a theater because I was like, Deb, you know, it's like in The Matrix. And I start telling the story. Debbie's like, I've never seen The Matrix. I'm like, we're getting divorced. Like, this is over. You know, like, this isn't okay. Like, okay, she's looking at me now like, you didn't say divorce, but I'm like, we'll fight afterwards. It's fine. No, but Debbie has never seen The Matrix because she's not a movie watcher. And so I told her, I was like, it's like in The Matrix, though. Like, you see below, behind the scenes, the depths. You see an underlying meaning to everything. And he can't win. Neo can't win. Spoiler alert. Neo can't win until he actually decides to operate on that lower, like, coding level. And the whole movie, he's getting his butt kicked by this AI character in this quote unquote real world, the world that looks like what we're in every day. And once he realizes to see below the surface, as his Morpheus, his counterpart, says, he's beginning to believe. Like, as he believes that, all of a sudden, this guy who's been smoking him the whole movie, he's fighting him one-handed while looking at his other hand. So if you haven't seen the movie, hopefully I just made enough of a picture for you to understand that if you're just fighting the surface, you're never going to get to live your life. If you're just treating the surface ailments instead of looking at, like, the root cause, what are you eating? How are you sleeping? How are you exercising? You're never going to get to be well. You may lose weight, but you're never going to get to be well. And that's what we do. That's what we help people do. When I first met Debbie, she literally out of the gate told me that. She told me that I would lose the 100 pounds, but until I addressed my underlying issues, I wouldn't keep the weight off, and it wouldn't even be worth my time, is essentially what she said. And so I had to take a step back and really acknowledge, like, what am I looking to do here? And I just think there's so many people that are in that place.
Absolutely, for sure. I mean, there's no doubt about that. That's why we do what we do. I think there's just such a great passion for healing and for hope. And I just think when you go to the doctor and you're starting to struggle and you know that you need some help, you know that you need some change, but then you come home and they tell you all of your blood work looks great, but yet you're coming home with 15 different, scenarios or 5 major symptoms. And
you still don't feel
and
great.
You still don't feel good. And they've offered you a few medications, but your blood work looks great and no one has any answers. What do you do? I mean, how do you change things? Well, when someone advises you that food could be the catalyst for considerable change in all of the areas that you're dealing with, and you decide you don't have enough time for that food, you're too busy because you have children, you're too busy because you own a business, you're too busy because you have a spouse, you're too busy because your spouse won't support you, you just simply discard the possibility for the greatest impact and the greatest change on so many of those issues that you could be dealing with in your body. And so you have to be willing to say, I'm going to contribute to my own success, to my own health, to my own healing, and I'm going to get to that root cause. And a big part of the way that you take those surface issues off and you start peeling those layers away is by cleaning out your system and by eliminating pro-inflammatory foods, by reducing histamine responses in the body and getting yourself to a very neutral state, especially with your blood sugar. Managing that blood sugar will help you to manage a lot of the inflammation in your body. So starting from that is like starting from scratch and getting to start over. And what happens is all of these acute, immediate responses that the body's having, they start to disappear. And we can actually start to identify what's really going on, like what's really in the backdrop of what you're dealing with. Sometimes with so many of those acute situations and circumstances, we actually can't get to the bottom of what's going on because there's just too many things clouding it. For more information on a 6-month nutrition program with us at Integrity Training Systems, take a look at integritytrainingsystems.com or to schedule a free personal fitness assessment with any of our personal trainers. Give us a call at 636-299-2208 for gluten-free, dairy-free baked goods delivered to your doorstep from my personal bakery. Take a look at sophiesbakery.com. And for 100% grass-fed beef, the only meat that the Morris family will eat, they also have chicken and eggs. Take a look at fedfromthefarm.com.
Welcome back, everybody. This is John and Debbie Morris with Integrity Training Systems on Real Talk 93.3. Deb was talking a little bit right before we went to break about, time. One thing that we deal a lot with is time. I talked about in the first segment just kind of getting caught in that 9 to 5 or saying you're in the grind or, talking about, oh, it's Monday or I'm here, that kind of thing. And a lot of times when we get that fatigued by life or what we're dealing with, it's easy to not make good use of our time. And so, what I challenge you to think about is, okay, if you're trying to find time for something that you either know is good for you and or even just want to do, take a look at your actual day. Let's break it down instead of thinking, well, I work 40 hours a day and I don't get to sleep. Like you're thinking like all these numbers, right? Like actually sit down and write it down. Like how much do you sleep? How much time do you spend on social media? That's a big one. Like if you actually time that out, I challenge you, that's a side note, but like in 7 days, take note, look at your phone before you start looking at stuff like Instagram, TikTok and all that, and then look at it when you're done and add that up in a week. It's insane. And so what are you doing in those time flows that you could be doing something else? And I recently started getting myself up earlier. I mean, those people that know me know I don't sleep a whole lot anyway, but I started forcing myself to get up earlier. I used to get up with basically enough time to put, like Deb didn't even know how I did it. Like I'd put clothes on and I'd be at the gym and the gym's like 8 minutes away and I would get up at 1:45 and I would be on time. That's how I lived my life. Now that is terrible. Like if
you were also anxious.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. That's what I'm getting to.
Yeah,
is if you're doing that, like I'm anxious and I start my day horribly, and then I'm that, well, I'm here, guy, as I'm trying to get my brain wrapped around what my day looks like. Well, I transitioned that to getting up 40 minutes before I needed to be there. So I was giving myself 30 minutes.
Black Bear.
30 minutes. Yeah, I was pretty angry back then.
Yeah.
So I mean, I'm still angry. Just keep it in. It's like the Hulk in Avengers. You've seen Avengers, right?
Yeah.
I'm just kidding. I just referenced her not saying the Matrix, but I made her watch the Avengers with me. But it's like, that's my secret, Cap. I'm always angry, but he learns to control it. That's kind of where I'm at. I just called myself the Hulk. We're going with that.
Okay.
But so the point is, like, if that's where you're living your life, you're dealing with this anxiety and you're telling people you're anxious all the time. Well, are you giving yourself time to not be anxious? Like all it took was me spilling coffee or something in a morning trying to get ready like that to literally set the rest of the course of my day on fire.
Yep.
So then I got to where I started getting up with the 40 minutes.
The course of my day on fire.
Yes.
Well.
Yeah. Who are you affecting? So I got to where I decided, like, I want to get up earlier. I want to start doing cardio in the new year in January, as we're approaching that rapidly.
New year, new you.
Yeah, that's right. New year, new deer. It's got a rhyme. I don't like new year, new you. Like I'm going to new year, new mirror.
Yeah.
Like we're going to come up with something better than that. But I've started getting myself up 5 minutes early because what I told myself was, wow, I'm going to need like another at least 45 minutes, right? To get 30 minutes or so of cardio in. I got to get there. I got to make sure I have time to change because I don't want to be sweaty and gross as I start my day with my clients. Then I started thinking I'd like to do a 15-minute devotional as well. And so I'm like, wow, if I'm going to do my 15-minute devotional and I'm going to do a 30-minute cardio workout, like how in the world do I get myself up an hour earlier? And so I start thinking, like, if I got to get up an hour earlier, I already get up at 4 o'clock. So like, I'm going to have to get up at 3 o'clock to get this 45 minutes in. And I tell people this, and it's funny because I'm working with them to help them be better in an area. And they're like, okay, you're insane. It's like, but that's the only time I have. It's either the end of the night or the beginning of the day. I go to work at 5 and I usually leave between 8 and 9 p.m. It's like if I get a cancel or something, sure, I can do it in there, but I don't want to plan on that because sometimes I don't get cancels. And sometimes there's other work that has to be done in those windows. So I have to actually be intentional about it. So anyway, I'm like, how am I going to get myself to start getting up at 3? I'm already tired at 4. Well, you know what I started doing is I hate the terminology baby steps. Because baby steps insinuates that you're not actually you're not looking to run. You don't have a plan, in my opinion. Driving a wedge is a plan because you intend to have the entire wedge in there, but you can't do an hour at a time. So what I started doing is every other day I started getting up 5 minutes earlier. So inside of 6 days, a week, that would put me at 15 minutes earlier. Inside of 2 weeks, that'd put me at 30 minutes earlier. And in a month, that's my hour. And I've had a couple backslides. I've had a couple days that my alarm went off at 3:55 and I was like, nope. And I reset it and I got up at 4:10. Okay, I took a little step back. Got to drive that wedge in harder. And so I'm at a place now where I'm getting up in the 3 o'clock hour. I'm not at 3 yet, but I still have the rest of this month to get there. So what I'm saying is, if you don't think you have enough time, where can you put it? If you're saying I need to study, can you take 5 minutes off of Instagram? Can you take 5 minutes out of watching garbage YouTube videos that you're actually not growing from when what you're saying is you wish you had time to continue your education, which could also be done through YouTube? Like, where is your energy going? And I assure you, like, there are people that are busier than me. There are a lot of people that aren't as busy as me, but there are people that are busier than me too, and they're doing this stuff. And if you want to be successful, I'm not telling you to not sleep. Rest and recovery are important. I'm not telling you to not enjoy yourself. I watch Instagram every day for a couple minutes. Okay. So it's like, I'm not telling you not to do it. But what I'm saying is if you're not accomplishing what you want to accomplish in life, career, or health, where can you plug it in? Drive the wedge 5 minutes at a time. And I assure you, next thing you know, I've been getting to work. Like I said, I'm not doing the cardio yet because what I told myself is if I tell myself I'm going to get up in the morning and do cardio, I am going to talk myself out of it. So you know what I've been doing? I've been getting to work and just hanging out. I read my devotional. I'm reading a book about from Chuck Swindoll about David. I read that, or I've got it on Audible now too. I listen to it for 15 minutes, and I have 15 minutes to sit there and look at my day. I'm at work 30 minutes early now. So all I got to do is plug that next 15, 20 minutes in, and I'm doing cardio and getting my reading in. I've been trying to figure out where to put that for a long time. And all it took was me hearing Ed Milet say, get up 5 minutes earlier until it becomes a pattern and then do it again. So I hope that helps you.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's certainly a way of getting you over the hump for sure.
Yeah. Don't tell yourself, I'm going to get up an hour early. If you're anything like me, you're not going to do that. You're going to look at your phone when it goes off and you're going to be like, well, I have another hour I can sleep, and you're going to reset that alarm. And now, not only did you not get up earlier, but you've interrupted your sleep. So it's actually like worse than just sleeping until the time you were sleeping till.
I think for me, just, in being, in a relationship and living in the same house with you for 11 years.
You're welcome.
What I have learned through the process is just that.
She's going to get serious here.
Okay. It overwhelming feeling of anxiety.
Yes. And
that you experienced on such a regular basis.
Yes.
It was so tied to, that.
You know what? You know what's fascinating about it?
Started it.
Anxiety is if you actually look up anxiety and what anxiety is. Let's do this real quick. So if you look up anxiety online, the Mayo Clinic actually describes it as intense, excessive, persistent worry and fear about everyday situations. And so what's amazing about that is, let's just read the Webster dictionary. Feelings of fear, dread, and or uneasiness that may occur as a reaction to stress. Well, if you look at what stress is, because that's where the Webster is driving us, stress is a natural human response to challenges or threats in life that can cause a feeling of mental tension or worry. And so at the end of the day, what the tension, what the stress, what the fear, it's all like looping in circles on describing it is, most stress in everyday situations comes from a fear of something that you either need to do and you're procrastinating on, something you don't know how to do so that you're procrastinating on it or just looping on not knowing what to do, or something that needs to be done but you can't do right now. That's actually where most anxiety comes from. So if you can teach yourself to just get done what needs to be done, not to procrastinate, learn or seek help on what you don't know how to do so that you can get it done, and then realize that what needs to be done that you can't do right now, there's no sense in worrying about, and you'll tackle it the same as you do those other two scenarios when they come along, you can actually destroy anxiety. And so when we were talking about in the last segment about generational versus genetic curses, okay, stress and anxiety is a generational curse for my family. And it's also on Sophie's biological mother's side. She had a conversation with me at one point where she said, well, you have a high stress, high anxiety family. You've been diagnosed with anxiety and I have anxiety. So Sophie's going to deal with that. And I was like, no. I'm not claiming that for my daughter. Like, it stops with me because she's not going to be learned, trained, or taught that A, she has that as an actual disease, or B, that she doesn't know how to cope with it, because I'm going to teach her how to stay ahead of that. I'm going to discipline her how to stay ahead of that. Debbie has basically devoted her life to teaching our daughter how to stay ahead of that, not having a messy room, making her bed, cleaning her closet, getting stuff done early. You have 8 days to do that project? Great. Well, you have enough time to finish it today. So let's just get it done. Sophie lives a pretty carefree life, not because everything's done for her, but because she's been taught how to do what she can get done. So instead of believing like this is just something I'm going to have to deal with for the rest of my life and it's passed down through my family, challenge you to check some of these things. Like, quit claiming them for yourself. Well, I have diabetes, so that's just how it's going to be. I mean, are you type 1 or are you type 2? Because even type 1s, I have a client, he's a type 1 diabetic. His blood sugar has never been within a window of 5 points. He came and did nutrition with Debbie. He came off of all of his medications. It's a type 1 diabetic. And his blood sugar stays within 5 points of itself all day long. He's an athlete. He's a runner. He's a sprinter. He's a professional soccer referee. So he has to sprint almost more than the players up and down the field. Mm-hmm. And he's doing that with maintained controlled blood sugar. So don't claim anything, I guess is the point I'm trying to make. And to the point of the anxiety, if you don't know how to do it, find someone that does.
Right. And just take those cues from other successful people. People that manage their time properly, people that are organized, people that are successful. They're there for a reason. They've accomplished what they've accomplished for a reason. And I didn't really grow up in a household with a lot of anxiety and a tremendous amount of stress or arguing or any of that sort of thing. So I tend to take a really calm approach or a level-headed approach to things. And I've just put that approach on Sophie and just taught her a path to being organized and being consistent and being prepared for her life. And that's really lightened her load when it comes to being anxiety or having anxiety. For more information about what we do with our 6-month nutrition program, take a look at integritytrainingsystems.com, or to schedule a free personal fitness assessment with any of our personal trainers, give us a call at 636-299-2208. For gluten-free, dairy-free baked goods delivered to you from our personal bakery, take a look at sophiesbakery.com. And for 100% grass-fed beef, the only meat that the Morris family will eat, take a look at fedfromthefarm.com.
Welcome back, everybody. This is John and Debbie Morris with Integrity Training Systems on Real Talk 93.3. Been spending a lot of time just talking to you about getting to a place where you actually commit to bettering yourself, looking beneath the surface, figuring out how to not feel like you're looping and grinding all day, every day. And I want to kind of change tunes a little bit here and talk about if you have done that before. Like, let's say you made that decision. Like, I'm going to get a promotion at work. I'm going to run a marathon. I'm going to lose 100 pounds. And you actually dedicate yourself. You get serious. You drive the wedge in. You find the time. You make it a priority. You hire somebody. You put yourself in a position where you actually have a chance to be successful in what it is you know you need and want to do. But then that luster falls away. And then that drive falls away. And then time becomes an issue again. Something new happens. You're taking care of your dad or, an elderly family member, or you have to move, or your job situation changes. You have another kid. Something happens that pulls you out of the disciplinary pattern that you designed and implemented to be able to do what you need to do. We deal with health a lot. So what we find is you have people that have success and they continue to be successful. And then there are people who have great success and then they leave and we don't hear from them. And potentially they end up in a position where they backslide. They're not in the element anymore. Time has crept up on them. Life's gotten busy and they fall apart. Debbie, I want you to just talk about, like, when you've experienced that or you've had people you've worked with that's happened to, like, what do you say to them? Like, how do you help them with that?
I mean, the first thing I just want to say is God's grace is sufficient, and I have that hanging on the wall in my office, because when you have achieved something as great as losing 100 pounds or losing 50 pounds, and then you fully backslide and you gain all that weight back, you don't think that there's any grace available for you. You think you're the lowest of the low. You think you've become pond scum because you are so defeated by your choices and decisions that you don't even think you deserve God's grace, because you think you worked yourself into that bad situation and you don't even deserve to get out of it anymore. But at the end of the day, that is exactly what the enemy would want you to think. All right. So I'm going to go back to the battle tactics. You're falling prey to exactly what the enemy wants you to think. He wants you to think that you're a failure. He wants you to think that there's no chance that you'll ever lose that weight again, that, you're addicted to sugar, that you'll never overcome this issue, and that you'll always keep losing weight and gaining weight and losing weight and gaining weight. But I'm here to tell you that there's never a day you can't start over. There's never a day you can't start fresh. And what you have to do is go all the way back to when it began, okay? The first day that you did something that you were not proud of, the first day that you did something that was not on a healthy track, go back to that very first day and write down in a journal why you did it. What were the circumstances? Were you not prepared? Were you busy? Were you stressed? Were you celebrating? Were you worried about being with friends and what they were going to say? Did your spouse say something that made you feel like it was coming between you and him, that you were as healthy as you are? What was the circumstance day one when you started down the path away from health? Okay. What was the circumstance in day two? What was the circumstance in day three? Go all the way back and rewrite the story. And let's figure out what is getting you off track and what is keeping you off track, because that's what it's going to take. That's what it's going to take to keep you on track. There is no diet, okay? There is no guru. There is no coach. There is no one. Because when I hear a client gains their weight back, you can ask my husband, what do? I blame myself for it. Why didn't I get through to him? What did I not teach him? How could I have not helped them to stay committed? What can I do differently? I take all that on because I don't understand what happened, but I'm not living with these people. I'm not making them make every decision. You need to go back and say, what's stealing my time? What's stealing my mind? What is weakening me? What's breaking? What's putting those kinks in the armor? and what's keeping me from truly achieving optimal health. What you also want to do, though, is you want to link this to your faith. You know, I have a lady that does some marketing work for us, and she's actually a pastor, and she's incredibly intelligent. She has a science background. That's what her education is in. And she's so smart when it comes to food, when it comes to medicine, and when it comes to cells and just everything impacting you on a cellular level. And her and I sit down and we talk, and it's like, you don't understand how sick food is making you until you get it out and you can actually see and feel how amazing you can feel every day. But you also don't understand that God is ready and willing to help you every step of the way, and he's giving you cues. He is showing you signs and signals. He's prompting you not to do things, but you have to listen to that prompting. You have to be willing to commit your ways to his path, to his purpose. And you have to put work into it. Faith without works is dead. So he can show you the path to the healing from the diabetes. He can show you the path to the healing from the heart disease. But if you don't walk the walk, if you don't do the work, you're not going to get to that path. I just want to encourage you today that if you have put the weight back on, you can take the weight back off. It can come back off just like it came back on. Don't settle in it. Don't get stuck thinking that you've ruined it and that you're not the type of person that can ever go back to that health that you once achieved. You can achieve this again. It is worth fighting for. It may be something that you have to fight for the rest of your life. I have been with my husband for 11 years, and he has had to fight not eating candy every single day of the 11 years. And I don't desire after candy. I'm not addicted to candy. I don't want anything to do with candy. I know it's going to cause a migraine. I know it's going to make me sick. I know it's going to weaken me. I know I'm not going to be able to do my job. But he is, okay? I have watched him battle it. I have seen the weakness. But you know what he does? He equips himself. He listens to podcasts. I encourage him. He works out. He works at it every single day. He sets himself up for success. He doesn't put himself in circumstances where he's going to be surrounded by candy. I don't even actually ask him to get gas in our cars anymore. At one point, he had such a hard time at the gas station, I started paying someone to go get gas for us. That sound ridiculous to you? Not if you have someone that's completely addicted to sugar. Not to mention, we bought back our time. So we have someone that's assisting us to keep him from that circumstance. You are the only one that can advocate for you. If you keep putting yourself in those circumstances, you're going to keep dipping. You're going to keep failing.
No intelligent enemy is going to fight you in an arena that you have the upper hand. And so the reason other people might not be addicted to candy, I mean, maybe you're addicted to alcohol, maybe you're addicted to cigarettes, maybe you're addicted to something that you wish you could have out of your life. But the reason I'm not addicted to those is because I've already given all of those up. That was easy for me. And by easy, I mean, it was obviously difficult, but I got away from it and I'm fine. Sugar and candy is not easy for me. So when the enemy is going to attack you, he's going to do so in an arena that you aren't going to be victorious, or at least he thinks you aren't. You know, I always joke with Debbie, I'm like, I wish instead of the demons in my head basically like attacking me with candy and trying to ruin my day and then make me get mad and irritable, I wish he would just make this big movie quality demon and just walk him through the front door, because I'd kill him. You know, I'd fight him. I'm trained. I'd shoot him. I'd stab him. And Deb's like, well, that's why it'll never happen, because you're actually not only willing to fight that, but you actually think you're capable of winning it. I just want to add this real quick. There is a business growth consultant online. His name is Myron Golden, and he did an entire hour and a half long show on food being the secret weapon of Satan, food being the secret weapon of the enemy. And he talks about the garden with Adam and Eve, the original fruit temptation there. He talks about bread with Jesus, the temptation that Satan tried to tempt Jesus with there. He talks about the Israelites exploring and wanting to go back to slavery and bondage for salted meats and food. And he talks about all of this being something that Satan has used for thousands of years to kill people. And he said in the end, most Americans dig their own grave with a knife and a fork. And so what I challenge you to think is, are you putting something in your mouth that isn't for the glory of God and it isn't nutritious to your body? Because if you are, you're feeding your flesh, and it's not going to get you anywhere.
You have to die to yourself and serve God in all that you do. And use your body as a temple of the Holy Spirit. Serve Him with your choices. For more information on our 6-month nutrition program, take a look at integritytrainingsystems.com or give us a call at 636-299-2208. For gluten-free, dairy-free baked goods delivered to your door, take a look at sophiesbakery.com. And for 100% grass-fed beef, the only meat that the Morris family will eat, take a look at fedfromthefarm.com. Thank you for listening, and God bless.